this time around, we will go to that bigger, hotter issue of charter change. And we are glad that we have resource speakers, high-powered resource speakers, ready for your questions, ready for our questions. So, brief introduction lang po. I know, kilala niyo po lahat ito. To my immediate left, isang tanyag ng professor from the University of the Philippines. 57 years and counting, I think. And at the same time, she was the former National Security Advisor. And I think one of the proudest achievement is that she is the pioneer in what we call as political psychology in UP. Dr. Clarita Carlos. To her left is kilala nyo na ito. He and I used to work together under the administration of our beloved Pinoy. He was a former presidential spokesperson. At ang magandang credential po niya ngayon is that he is a professor. The same time as Dr. Clarita Carlos of our hot topic. He is a professor in constitutional law sa FEU at PLM. So, idagdag ko na po sarili ko, ako rin po ay professor, pero hindi po ako constitutional law. Ako po ay civil law. So, meron tayong professor constitutional law, meron tayong professor political psychology. So, with that, let's start the program by just asking a direct question, ma'am and sir. In Philconsa's event yesterday, I think President Bongbong Marcos categorically stated that he will really handle all of these issues affecting charter change. In a nutshell, I think he is going to support for as long as it's for changing economic provisions. I'm not so aware what else happened there, pero kay ma'am, reaction po ninyo.
I wish I could answer in just brief statements, but this is a rather long narrative, but let us just truncate my comments to fit the time for the agenda. You know, when, if we follow the organismic perspective, like you look at a human being, and you find out that the human being is seriously infirmed, marami siyang sakit. Hindi mo pwedeng sabihin lang sa kanya ni Edwin, pakialaman lang natin puso mo. Sa susunod, pakialaman natin ang iyong baga. Sa susunod, pakialaman natin ang sunod-sunurin natin yan. Okay sa akin ang economic provisions kung yun ang uunahin mo. Meaning merong ordinality. Pero kung sasabihin mo sa akin, yun lang ang babalangkasin mo, tapos yun lang, mag-period ka na doon, magkakaroon tayo ng error in judgment. Sapagkat ako bilang political scientist, haharangin niya ng political factors. Kasi gaano pa ka gwapo yung economic changes na gagawin mo sa 87. Haharangin niya ng political forces. And that's the real politik. No? So alam ni Speaker Martin, ang damdamin ko dyan bilang political scientist. Kasi yan talaga ang nangyayari on the ground.
Okay, sir. Reaction, sir?
Yung sinabi ni Pangulong Marcos kahapon, he mentioned about over 300 measures were introduced since the 8th Congress. And he suggested that there's a desire for people to amend the Constitution. However, all the 300 measures that were so far introduced either did not make it through or certain initiatives were made but did not pass. Pagdating sa economic provisions kasi, nung panahon ni Pangulo Aquino, well, during our time also, the cabinet secretaries also some of them were advocating charter change then to free up the economy. Ang naging issue ni Pangulo Aquino is that the solution? Number one, tama sabi ni Dr. Clarita na hindi maglilimit, it won't limit itself to the economic provisions. And that's a perspective where from her end, it's a positive view that we should really revise the whole constitution. But from the political end, I mean, from the practical end, people view it differently. That when you tinker with the political provisions, it's like they're saying you want to maintain further your hold on power. Especially, for instance, if there's a plan to change it from presidential to parliamentary, you take away from the people the right to directly elect the president. So those are certain things that we have grown accustomed. It's going to be difficult. That's why bawat initiative, bawat proposal to amend the constitution, tumitigil sa politika. Sa economic, open tayo, open sila mag-discuss. Pero, hindi naman, once you open the floodgate, talagang pag-uusapan. And Dr. Carlos is correct. You have to open up, they will open up the political side. These are all politicians as well. So that's where the dilemma is. On the economic provisions, I know in 2015, President Aquino met with Steve Forbes, the CEO of Forbes magazine. And basically what he said, good governance is good economics. You may not necessarily have to change the economic provisions kasi ang proof of concept niya is during his time, we went up to as high as 7%. So if there's good governance, aangat at aangat. And also from economic point of view, if the government doesn't do anything, the standard rule is because we've got so much robust activity in the Philippines, 5% ang easily makukuha ng GDP ng bansa eh. A good government can bring it higher. So and credit to the legislature now, they have opened up so many ease of doing business. Marami silang ginagawang mga panukala na kung economic provisions na naman ang kailangan pag-usapan, nagagawa nila eh. I mean, that's where we're coming from. But we're still open to seeing economic provisions. Ang problema lang, Dr. Carlos, is really, takot ang tao, baka baguhin yung sistema. No? But that is a reality talaga. Kaya doon nanggagaling yung agam-agam ng mga tao. Maybe that, sa akin, hindi ako pabor, pero tingnan natin, may sinabi si Dr. Carlos sa bagong perspective, but it's something that is very closely watched by the Philippines. Yung economic provisions, I think, mga Pilipino is a bit distant eh. Pagdating sa politika, political provisions, doon magka-question ang tao.
You want to react, ma'am?
Yes, I like what all the points that you have made, and I think siguro para mahimay natin to, no, bilang scientist, mag-umpisa tayo sa umpisa. Ano yung pinopromesa nila na if we do this, then this is the result, no? So we go to or you have to go through this, but really we have to go through this para meron deeper and broader understanding of what we're doing. What is the nature of explanation? Sana may pisara dito, kanya lang wala, ano? Ang nature of explanation kasi, pag sinabi ko kasing, pag ito ginawa ko, ito magiging produkto. Okay. The thing is, minsan, this is not enough na ito yung gawin ko, dapat meron pa akong ibang gawin. Okay, ito yung sinasabi kanina, Edwin, na meron pa, pag ginawa mo yung effective governance, never mind na status ko yung economic provisions, in fact, ito pa rin ang magiging produkto mo. And I agree with that. Sapagkat wala naman pong formula for economic growth. Otherwise, isasalpak mo na lang yan at sabihin mo, sige, ilagay mo to, A, B, C, D, E, voila. You reduce or eradicate poverty. Walang ganon. We're experimenting all the time. Otherwise, the IMF, World Bank will simply tell you, Philippines, ito gawin mo, ito yung mga variables, no? Unfortunately, the political culture is different in 200 or so states and economies. And therefore, talagang merong kailangan calibration and recalibration para malaman mo anong combination, anong composite of variables will bring about economic growth, which in turn will bring about the higher quality of life for the Filipino. Ito yung kanyang concern eh. Wala siyang pakialam dito. Ang taas level ng discourse dito, di ba? Ito ang pakialam na, magbabago ba yung buhay ko dito? Di ba? Ibig sabihin ba nito, yung bang mga, gut issues eh. Yun ang dapat tutukan mo. Huwag yung siguro, yung discourse among scholars, among lawyers, mataas ang level. Pag tininda mo yan sa publiko, itinda mo yan na something na talagang malapit sa damdamin nila. But if you sell it in terms of yung mga four-syllable words sa mga economists, no, talaga it will not wash. It really will not wash. So strategic communication was a failure, no? Parang they trivialized it and parang pinapagtawanan nila. It's a very serious issue, for God's sake. Huwag niyo po i-trivialize ito. O pangalawa, you question the motives. Huwag niyo po unahin na kino-question niyo yung motives. Patay na po tayo if you question the motives. By the way, Edwin, yung motives is a landmine of research in social science. It's the most difficult thing to establish as a social scientist. Kaya nga wag mo kong questionin yan eh. No? Ang questionin mo, things which you can observe with your five senses. No? So why do I go into the epistemology? Sapagkat paliko-liko po ang trajectory natin eh. Bakit po hindi tayo nagsasanib puwersa? Iba-iba po ang ating trajectory at 5 po yung trajectories natin, for example, and yet hindi po tayo nagkikita-kita, parang parallel lines. So ako, bilang scientifico, gusto ko ibaba yung level ng discourse. Ay titinda ko sa iyo into something na naiintindihan mo to. Kung federal, ito yung mangyayari. Kung parliamentary, ito yung mangyayari. Huwag mong sabihin kasi, Edwin, ang tinanong doon sa isang polling SWS ata to, Paul, sabi niya, gusto mo ba yung sistema na yung presidente hindi mo binoboto? Sabi ko, kago talaga yung gumawa nitong question ito. Talaga siyempre yung sasagutin mo, ayaw mo, di ba? Pero pag sinabi mong gusto mo ba yung sistema na yung prime minister, you can kick him out anytime through a vote of non-confidence. Nakita mo, iba yung tono nung isa doon sa isa. So minsan din, pag nginiwi mo yung questionnaire, it's also as a function of ano yung tinanong mo sa tao. Minsan yung tinanong mo, yung gusto mong sagot. Di ba? So I'm sorry, but there are so many vagaries of explanation and kailangan ko po itong laliman ng ganito. Kung hindi ay mamamatay na po ako, nag-uusap pa rin tayo tungkol dito. Diba? Gusto ko po, I want to have a better Philippines. I want this administration to succeed kahit wala na po ako sa cabinet. I saw how our president really is a very hard worker. Alam mo ba, Edwin, the president was talking about blockchain technology sa cabinet. 3 lang kami ni Pascual ang nakakaintindi. Kasi siyempre, tinitignan ko din, sino ba yung nakikipagdebate kay presidente? Siyempre ako, no, nagpanggap na rin ako kasi pinag-aralan ko rin yan. I really need to understand it, no? Then Pascual knows about it. Yung DTI, the president knows about it. Hindi po totoong hindi nagbabasa si president. He's very, very... Nagbabasa po siya. Alam niyo po, minsan 4 ang memos ko sa president. Kasi alam niyo, ang Workers National Security Advisor, inuuwi ko po sa bahay, ganyan po kataas na intel. Dahil ako po yung taga-receive na. Yung intel na po, yung kailangan ko kong basahin yun isa-isa. Kapagkat hindi ko mababasa yan ni president dahil araw-araw ang dami po niyang ginagawa. Kapag nakakita po ako ng something na may national security concern, memo agad ako sa president. Yun po ang work ng NSA. No? So, napakalalim po na trabaho na aking nilahukan at kung saan ako nakalublob for 6.5 months.
One question lang kay Sec Edwin. In relation to what Dr. Carlos said earlier, na pag inumpisa mo na yung surgery, inuno yung puso, tapos titinan yung liver, ganyan-ganyan, isa-isa. Ganun ba sir, pag umpisa natin yung pagbabago ng konstitusyon, pwede bang ilimit lang? From a constitutional law point of view, ilimit lang. Now we can say for the, let's say, whether it's a constituent assembly or a CONCON, you're just limited to change economic provisions. Pwede po ba yun?
Legally, it's open. It now depends on either the legislators acting as a constitutional convention or constituent assembly to make sure that they allow themselves to limit themselves to that. Pero mahirap eh. Yan talaga yung hindi mo pwedeng gawing panahonin. Kumbaga, kung whether you are in good faith or bad faith, it's an opportunity now to change the system of government eh. So you've got 2 things eh. You've got the economic provisions and you've got the structure of government that you're looking at. So dalawa ang tinitinan mo. Ang economic provisions, madaling debatihin yan. Simple lang naman yan eh. Just to mention about the survey sinasabi ni Dr. Carlos, doon sa mga survey, ayaw ng tao, ng Pilipino na payagang mga banyaga na mag-ari ng lupa. At saka, in practical terms, China, which is a booming economy, never opened their land to foreign ownership. So it's not a quid pro quo na gaganda ang ekonomiya natin pag binuksan mo yung pag-aari ng lupa sa mga banyaga. The other thing, tama sabi rin on the political side, yung tanong yung sinabi ni Dr. Carlos na ayaw talaga nila na mawala sa kanila yung ihalal ang Pangulo. Yun talaga nagtanim na. And also, from a ito sarcastic to ha. Tama rin sabi yan na pwede mong sipain, pero kapag alam natin na it's very obvious that there's vote buying naman. Imagine mo yung industriya na kada 3 taon, kumikita yung taong bayan, yung mga tumatanggap. So it's very consistent for them. A change to another system, mag-iiba rin niya. I'm being sarcastic, I'm not encouraging that, but that's not a ground to oppose. But yan yung talagang kalakaran talaga sa eleksyon. So, there's no limit to what a Solon can introduce. Kasi pag binuksan mo yung pag-amyenda ng Constitution, oportunidad na yan na baguhin yung sistema. Whether for ill or bad, or good. Nandoon yun eh. You've got good intentions, you want to change it, that's fine. But there are also some nefarious forces which would like to allow themselves to stay on power. Natural yan eh. So depende yan, but you cannot stop it. Somebody can just open it up. Diba? Wala na, tapos yan. You have to discuss that.
Okay. So, at least from a constitutional point of view, the moment you open it, at talagang force to good, you can change practically anything depending on the doctor ba who is doing that surgery or changes. Gaya po na sabi ni Dr. Carlos.
Yeah, Sec. Lacerda is absolutely correct. If you look at the nature of political and social change, you have to look at it from a holistic perspective. So if this were a circle and you have like parts therein, you cannot just say, ito lang baguhin natin ha? Kasi yung mga iba, as I said, are equally infirm. So paano yan? Sino magde-decide? And not only because I'm a political scientist, but the real politic tells you that it's the political who will decide who gets what, when, and how, including the economic provision. Haharangin yan talaga. So pangiging inutil talaga yung change mo. Kasi nga on the ground eh. I mean, you don't even need to experiment. Ginawa na yan sa ibang bansa. Huwag na natin tahakin yon kasi ang daming lubak eh. Pag maraming lubak, katangahan na. Alam mo na ang daming lubak, no? Di ba?
Thank you, ma'am. But I think we are all aware that this 1987 Constitution has been para bang prone to attack, to change. Of course, with the exception of President Cory Aquino's administration, each administration had some kind of charter change initiatives. Yung sa inyo po, Duque Pinoy, ngayon ko lang nalaman na usap-usapan lang, but it was never formalized.
There was no attempt to
Yes.
amend, but there were discussions, for instance, within na let's amend. But he put a break to all
Yeah,
that.
it was never formalized. Talagang it never got through at all. And as compared naman doon sa iba, talagang there was really, can I just say, it's a threat. It was a legitimate action on several branches of government.
And just to clarify the position of President Aquino, it wasn't a sentimental decision. Now, let's not change it because it's the constitution of my mom.
Yeah.
He really looked at it from the perspective of what are yung dalawa nga,
Okay.
yung economic provisions, so we really need to change it right now. So he proved that good governance is good economics. You can grow the economy with good governance. You know, those indices that we see, corruption index, transparency, accountability index, which are being evaluated by the foreign, these are indices that foreign investors looked at. There are, just to give you an example, before a foreign company would invest, they would hire intelligence networks. Okay ba dyan? And then, kunyari, itong company to they'd like to invest, they'll check first. I know that because I was asked to do something like that before. So, talagang they do their due diligence also. And if the country, one of the basic things that they look at would be the indices, the corruption index, transparency index. Mahalaga sa kanila kasi yung good governance is now a part and parcel of how you run a government. That's why, when we were there, in fact, sinabi nga na marami, especially sa Bloomberg, you're no longer the sick man of Asia at that point. Because of all these indices that they were looking at. So, but just to clarify lang, it was never on the sentimentality issue that it's the constitution of the mom.
Yes. Thank you, Sec. Edwin, for that. But basically, what my final question before we present everything to media was that kasi ang dami na nag-attempt magbago, baguhin ang ating constitution. Do you think, ma'am and sir, this time around, will it stand a chance, or it will be the same thing as what former presidents Ramos, Arroyo, and Duterte have done? Go ahead, ma'am.
Constitution is a living document. Hindi po yan tinanim sa granite, no? Yan po ay dapat ay magsisynchronize sa political culture. Pag yung po ang lupa ay nag-iba na, ang geopolitical situation nag-iba na, and it's radically changed, hindi lang siya nag-iba ng konting bagay, then ayusin mo yung basic law. Kasi ang basic law will decide the ceiling and the floor of what you can and cannot do. No? Tama kanina si Sec. Lacerda. Ano po ang hinahanap? Ano yung predictor variable? Ang tawag doon sa social science, what are the predictor variables? Paano papasok ang kaperahen dito in terms of FDIs? No? Papasok yan because these are the things that matter. Kasi Edwin, gumagawa din kami ng political risk analysis, yung kamukha ng ginagawa mo. No? Ang dagdag mo siguro yung legal mo. No? And therefore, alam namin yung mga maglalagay ng kaperahan dito, pati domestic for that matter. Ang unang tinatanong ease of doing business. No, I'm sure alam niyo sa kalapit na bansa, within 24 hours, andyan yung permit niya. Dito dumudugo na yung tenga mo, hindi mo pa nakukuha yung permit. Pati yung janitor ay binabribe mo pa. No, mga ganon. So kahit meron pa yung ARTA, etc., ang dami-dami ng no. Pagkatapos yung level of corruption, dito tayo number 1, di ba? Meron pa tayong number 1 ba niya? Yung chaotic traffic, di ba? Dalawa na tayong number 1. No, valedictorian na tayo sa number 1. Hindi po natin pinapagmagaling yon. Kahiya-hiya po yun. Napakalaking bagay sa mga namumuhunan ang corruption level. Kasi cost of doing business yun eh. So does it matter to them that they don't own the land? It doesn't matter to them. At saka nandun na nga sa law, di ba, 50 years, tapos additional 50 years. Ano bang korporasyon ang nabubuhay ng 100 years? Parang konti lang. So wag natin gawin yon. And unfortunately, yung mga iba, nililiko nga yung debate. As the reason why, siguro, hindi porke ako po ay scientifico, dapat po ang talagang ilagay nyo dyan sa hustings are really scientists. Kasi wala po kaming agenda. We only worship in we only worship in the altar of science. Science lang naman po ang sinusundan namin eh.
Yes, ma'am. But going to that question, do you think this charter change initiative that is happening under BBM's administration will succeed where the others have failed?
We'll see. We're going to see because strategic communication is very important. Sometimes, napakaganda ng iyong nilalahad and burara yung pagtinda mo. Diba? Ang ganda eh.
There is a school of thought different from and just to may ibang pananaw ang, for instance, ang US Constitution. It was ratified in 1778, over 200 years na sila yung Saligang Batas ng Amerika. In the process, they introduced piecemeal amendments. To date, there are about 26 amendments ang ginawa sa Saligang Batas ng Amerika. The first amendment was in 1788 yung Constitution nila. 1789, ang first amendment nila was how to revise the Constitution. Walang provision na ganun sa Constitution nila. That's why naggumawa niyan. And then nagsumunod ang Bill of Rights in 1790-91. Hindi siya tulad ang perspective ni Dr. Carlos as a political science, tama rin, holistic. Pero the experience of the US Constitution staggered din depending on the need. And they've never changed. Because it's really very particular. The whole Bill of Rights, which eventually became the Bill of Rights and US Constitution, there are 10 amendments yan. There were 10 amendments which was lumped into and became the Bill of Rights, which we patterned. Mas marami tayo, we have 22 provisions on the Bill of Rights.
Kaya nga, sir, lumalabas, based on your discourse of the US Constitution, they never revised it, they only amended it according to you, 26 times. Amended.
I don't know if we share the same definition of revise and amend. No? That's very technical. Pero binago lang nila kada amendment na nakita lang may pagkukulang. Pero hindi nila binago ang system of government. Presidential pa rin. Ang binabago lang nila sa structure lang is yung mga kailan i-inaugurate ang presidente, yung mga ganun, very simple. But bulk of it was about Bill of Rights and abolition of slavery. As 1913 lang, it was a constitutional amendment to levy income tax. So talagang up till now, I think after 1950, after the war, there were about 2 or 3 amendments parang ginawang Amerika. Pero piecemeal lang kanilang idea. Pero maybe that's a different perspective from what we have in the Philippines.
That's the basic constitution way back in 1778 remained intact. Yes.
But those two are not colliding. You look at it from the point of view of a metaphor of a stairs. Parang hagdan. Hagdan yan eh. In fact, Sekla Sherda, naisip ko yan eh. Ang ganda ng kanilang mga amendments at need, kung kailangan may pangangailangan, nilalagay nila doon. Sana mangyari, I don't know where you're the expert in constitutional law. Can that be considered within the rubric of our Constitution?
It can be, but I think we benefited from yung experience ng US Constitution, the provisions, we copy them because that there's really, panahon yun, di pa masyadong importante yung freedom of the press. It was by experience, they valued it and enshrined it. Pero yung sinasabing piecemeal na yun, pwede yan kung gusto talaga ng Kongreso. That's why, medyo, yun yung parating agam-agam. Bakit tuwing mag-open tayo ng mga provision, kailangan pumapasok ang and that's, she has a different perspective. First time I heard that perspective, which is positive naman. But the cynical view is, it will be taken advantage of by the people. That's why, there's really a skepticism or fear na mag-status ko yan. I just want to say something lang. Siguro, ma'am, since you're there as Chief Policy Advisor, one of the things na talagang people are worried about as yung anti-dynasty. There's an anti-dynasty provision which has never been codified into law. Kung maggawa ng batas yan, at least they will be assured na there's no vested interest na here. Parang yun lang, ma'am, ang ano ko.
But Sekla Sherda, yung anti-dynasty kasi term limits, they are theoretically anti-democratic. Kasi you have the right to vote and to be voted upon for as long as your constituency continues to vote you. So if you shift to a parliamentary system, Edwin can be an MP, member of parliament, until he dies, until his constituency continues to vote him. Mga iba nga 100 na sila, andyan pa sila. Because they're still, kamukha ni Enrile, napaka-sharp pa sa cabinet. So, actually, yung term limits at saka yung political dynasty, they will be rendered irrelevant in a parliamentary system. You're going to be a prime minister, a chancellor, you're going to be an MP, a member of parliament, for as long as your constituency supports you. But you can immediately be ousted, by the similar vote of non-confidence that will oust the prime minister and the chancellor. So, very, very sensitive siya sa will of the people. Di ba nasa constitution kasi natin, walang government authority na nakalad sa kanya. Nanggagaling lahat yan sa ating mga tao. Nalilimutan natin yan eh. And yet, nagre-renege tayo doon sa ating responsibilidad na lahat ng government authority, ibinibigay natin sa kanila, pwede rin nating ma-take away. Kahapon we were discussing federal and unitary system sa lecture series ko doon sa House. No? Then I talk about John Locke, who is the political theorist behind our Constitution. Dahil kinopya-kopya lang natin sa US yan eh. And sa John Locke, kapag ang social contract hindi na ginagawa ng governor, you have a right to revolution. No, pero hindi ko masyadong inano yun dahil baka pa mapreso pa ako pag diniscuss ko yun. But there is.
Sige, questions from the floor? Anyone? Meron? Please, sir. Can you identify yourself and the organization that you represent?
Hero Brigado po from PBS Radyo Pilipinas. Morning, Prof. Paborito kong professor sa umaga. Ma'am, sa modality na meron po tayo about charter change, modality pa lang pinag-aawayan eh. Wala pa ho yung mga pagbabago eh. Ano-ano ho ba yung mga prinsipyong dapat nakapaloob na dapat natin piliin para maging angkop at tama yung modality na gagamitin natin?
Wala naman pong angkop na modality eh. 3 po ang nakalagay sa Constitution, di ba? Actually, kung ako yung tatanungin ninyo, wala akong difference. For as long as the electoral system is the same, wala akong difference ng Constituent Assembly at saka Constituent Convention. Kasi sabihin mong konkon yan, nakatagilid dun sa merong pera, may salapi, may struktura, merong organization. Kahit pa siya CONAS or CONCOM. Tignan niyo yung configuration ng dalawa na yon. Yun yung sa initiative, siguro si Sec. Lacerdad ang magdi-discuss din nun, meron tinatawag silang walang enabling law para mangyari yan on the ground. That's why there have been many ways by which yung initiative ay ginagawa na talagang na-abort lang siya kasi kulang siya ng sa batas. No? Siguro, Sec. Lacerdad, explain mo yung initiative, no? Hindi ko masyado.
Yung People's Initiative kasi was put in the 1987 Constitution as a recognition of people power that people can now directly enact laws, including amending the Constitution. May limitasyon ang initiative. Ang pwede lang gawin ng initiative, People's Initiative, is mag-amenda at hindi mag-revise. Ang diferensya ng revise at saka amenda, ang revise parang it's a overhaul. You're changing the principle. It can just be one or two provisions for as long as it changes the legal the principle behind the Constitution. Let's say, parliamentary to presidential, isang lang yan, provision, substantial change of principles yan. The question right now, itong ginagawa na, yung may initiative yung kay Anthony Abad daw, di ba? Kapwa atinista natin yan.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Ang suggestion nun, do we vote, do the two chambers vote jointly or separately? Ang issue niyan, a legal issue dyan is, unang-una, is that a revision or is that an initiative? Aakyat yan sa Supreme Court. Yung tanong mo kanina kung do we foresee a change in Constitution, medyo mahaba yung proseso kasi ngayon may People's Initiative, gumagalaw yan kada 12 and 3 rule, no? 12% of registered voters at kada distrito at least dapat may 3%. Yun ang minimum requirement. Kung pumasa na yan, siguradong may aakyat sa Korte Suprema at tatanungin yan kung yan ba initiative, amendment or revision. Ang revision ang amendment, yung simple lang, yung ordinaryo na amendment na hindi magbabago ng principles undergirding the Constitution.
Hindi, singit ko lang, sir. Kumbaga yung sinabi niyo, yung pag-revision, overhaul, yung amendment parang tune up lang sa kotse.
Tune up, parang gano'n. Analogy, mas mabilis na, magandang. So yun ang problema doon. Sa Supreme Court, magdidebate yan doon. So it will take a while, pag-aaralan ng Korte Suprema yan. So ang tanong magagawa ba yan ng 2024, sasabay na 2024, yung People's Initiative ito, baka hindi. Kasi nga, yung issue yan, actually constitutional issue yun legal issue yun Because it's an interpretation. Ang nagkamali kasi ng mga hindi nagkamali, nakalimutan nila ang original intention ng ating mga constitutional commissioners, unicameral. Isang kamara lang, hindi dalawa. Nagbago yun, naging dalawang kamara, upper house and lower house. Pero doon sa provision ng pag-amyenda ng Constitution, nakalimutan ilagay doon voting separately. Kasi pag dalawa ang kamara mo, lahat ng gagawin ng lehislatura, dalawang kamara. Ultimo, pag SONA, pag-appear pa lang, dalawang speaker at Senate President nagbabang ng gavel. Sabi nga ni Senator Chis Escudero, papangalan ka lang ng kali sa isang tao, dadaan ng kamara na upper and lower house. Ano pa kaya babaguhin ang saligang batas? Yun ang isang legal issue talaga na noon pa, the constitutional commissioners themselves know na our intention was to have it voting separately. Pero, but hindi nangyari. Nakasulat sa hindi klaro. Kaya yan ang punto ng initiative. Very harmless. Pero kaya galit na galit ang Senado kasi pag ginawa mo kaming part of one body, 24 lang kami out of 300 plus 350, wala kayo, labas kayo. Kaya totally irrelevant sila. Yun ang ayaw ng Senado. So, kaya yun ang pinagdidebatehan ng Senado at saka nung House ngayon. Aakyat yan. Sigurado ang mga senador, aakyat yan. May mga senador na mag-file ng petition sa Korte Suprema. So, doon parati nagtanda mo yung pirma ni Ramos or ni GMA. Si Ramos, si GMA talagang isang boto na lang si Chief Justice Panganiban ang nagbago. Akala nila in the bag na yung ano nila, yung pirma nila eh. Yung nagbago si Chief Justice Panganiban. Problema talaga pag umabot sa Korte Suprema, politically speaking, hindi mga appointees ni Pangulong Marcos yan. Mga appointees ni Pangulong Duterte, yung majority. Dalawa na lang natitira kay Pangulong Aquino, si Marvic Leone at si Ben Caguioa. So, lahat dyan, practically, kaya appointees ni Presidente Duterte, magkakaroon ba yan ng impact? Hindi natin alam. Pero, yun ang mga interesting na tanong na tatahakin ng mga pro-initiative, pro-constitutional, pro-amendment talaga na dadaanan nila yan. Sandali, matapos lang. Pagkatapos, sabihin na natin pinayagan ng initiative na yan, di mag-ano na yan. Umpisa na yung, also initiative yan. Magdidiskusyon ngayon sa, yun ang, pag yan pumasok na yan, siyempre mag-amend ka na ng rules, mag-amend ka na ng constitution, isa pang bagay yan. Tapos, pagkatapos yan, may referendum pa, kung i-approve ng taong bayan yun. Di ba? So, mahaba yung proseso, hindi magtatapos yun sa People's Initiative. Mahaba yung proseso. It will end, ang sabi ni COMELEC Chair Garcia, it will cost 13 billion just to hold the plebiscite. Walang budget ngayon ditong taon na to. Siguro magsusupplemental na lang, pero walang budget for this year ang COMELEC for a plebiscite.
Since na hindi na po tayo unicameral, so paano mananatili pa rin ba sa modality yung PI na yan o paano magagalit ito?
Hindi mo naman magbabago yung People's Initiative, but it can only be activated every 5 years. Kada 5 taon lang. Kunyari, this time it failed or it passed. The next time someone can do a People's Initiative is after 5 years. May ginawang limitation doon din sa... By the way, yung sinabing itong... Ang unang basa ko rin, yung People's Initiative Law, sinabi ng Santiago vs. COMELEC na insufficient. At another decision subsequently, didn't touch on the constitutionality, but on the motion for recon, sinabi nila that RA 6715 is sufficient now. It's a sufficient vehicle to do People's Initiative. So there is a valid law right now because of that motion for recon ng Korte Suprema.
So People's Initiative pa rin, di politicians' initiative ba?
That's the problem when we mix motives with substance, no? Sana nga we're able to disaggregate this. Pero pag talagang tinusok mo yan, inuna mo ng motibo, it's a bad start already and doesn't help, no? So, I know, for me. Lalo na, Edwin, garil kasi ako sa Tagalog because I teach in English, no? And I wish I could pull down yung level ng discourse na talagang nag-iintindihan ako ng tao. Actually, lingid sa kaalaman ninyo, in the 80s, part po ako ng tinatawag na political education, hindi po political campaign. Kasama ko doon si Nene Pimentel, Pepe Abueva, yung mga barkada ko yan. We were going all over the archipelago at nagtuturo po kami. Ako yung kanilang curtain raiser, ako yung unang-unang nagla-lecture on federalism, parliamentary system, suffrage, etc. All aspects of our constitutional life, our political life. Hindi po ako nagka-campaign, hindi kami nagka-campaign. We want the citizenry to be an informed citizenry whenever they are asked, no? Ito siguro dagdag ko lang, Secla Sherda, sa mga tinuran mo kanina sa initiative. Ang initiative po, hindi po kayo magpipirma na walang tinatanong sa inyo. Kasi ano po yung pinipirmahan nyo? Gusto mo ba ice cream o ano ba, raspberry bang gusto mo o vanilla? Meron po dapat itinatanong sa inyo bago kayo magpirma.
At saka yung sabi nung, I forgot the name of the decision, but ang valid initiative, yung form na pipirmahan nyo, nandun nakasaad yung provision na pinapalitan at saka yung proposed amendment. Kaya tama sabi ni Dr. Carlos na dapat bago ipipirma, babasahan nyo na muna yung proposed amendment. Kung wala yon, invalid yung initiative na. Pero yung nabasa ko kay Anthony Abad na initiative, nandoon naman yung provision na gusto nyo nang baguhin at nandoon yung nakasaad na provision na dapat ilagay.
Okay. Sige, one more. One more.
Nats Alforte sa Saksi ngayon at Media House Express. Sir, sa dami na po kasing, yan nga, may CONCON, CONAS, ngayon po PI. Isa lang po ang sinasabi ng mga kababayan natin. At ako personally, then, gusto ko na rin magkaroon ng talagang pagbabago. Alam ko merong dapat baguhin na eh. Anyway, isa lang pong tatanong ko dyan, hindi ba pwedeng alisin sa ang isang agenda o hidden agenda? Alam niyo po kung anong ibig sabihin kong hidden agenda, tulad ng extension ba? Kaya hindi po, sa tingin ko, baka hindi rin maaprubahan yan, gawa ng may kanya-kanya silang agendang hidden. Salamat po.
Lahat ho ng tao may agenda. No? Meron hong tinukubli, merong ini-expose. Wag mo nating alisin yun kasi lahat tayo may damdamin eh. Pero ang sinasabi ko, bilang scientifico, mahirap pong arukin ng agenda dahil magsisinungaling po ako sa inyo kung binigyan ko kayo ng pencil and paper, questionnaire. Wag na po tayo magpunta ron kasi inutil po na magpunta tayo doon dahil nagsasayang lang tayo ng panahon ng tao at yung mag-a-administer ng questionnaire. So alisin po natin, set aside mo ang motive, no? At tumutok ka doon sa dagang sustansya ng debate. No? So ang hindi ho maganda talaga yung kabururahan ng isip natin, pinagsasama-sama natin yung motibo at sustansya, no? So set aside po natin, if we can disaggregate that, I'm sure. Kasi pag inumpisahan po natin question ng motive, it doesn't help really. It's a very, very bad start.
Pero nangyayari po kasi ngayon eh. Sa tao okay lang yun eh. Pero sa dalawang, sa Congress at sa Senate, yan pong nangyayari. Salamat po.
Let's not ascribe it to them. Tanungin niyo sila diretso. Ba't mo pa gusto to? Ano bang end statement nyo? Ano bang produktong nakikita mo dito? Ito ba magbabago ba buhay ko? Tanungin niyo po ang diretso po. At diretso din dapat ang sagot. Hindi paligoy-ligoy niyo. Alam niyo, nagpapaligoy-ligoy, nagsisinungaling. Di ba? Diretso yun ang sagot. Ito ba magbabago ba buhay ko? Gaganda ba yung buhay ko? Yung mga anak ko, pagka-graduate, yung pala, ang kanyang kurso, na-automate na pala yung kurso niya at pinalitan siya ng robot, no? Parang ganun. So, ang question nyo talaga, is this going to be, will there be a change in my life, no? Kasi dalawa lang po punto ng kung gusto niyo magbago. Gusto kong baguhin si, Fred, no? Fred, gusto kong baguhin yung values mo, beliefs mo, no? Maghihintay po tayo ng 90 years. Ito po yung scientific evidence. 3 generations bago ko mabago ang kanyang core beliefs. Lahat na po tayo mamamatay na dito sa room na to. So sabi ko, let's short-circuit the changes. I-change ko yung institution within which Fred operates. Noting, the ceiling, and the floor. O Fred, dito ka lang ha. Kasi ito lang doon, cylinder eh. Alam mo yung leche flan, di ba? Leche flan pwedeng pwedeng oblong, pwedeng square, pwedeng star. Yun eh. Yun ang metaphor talaga. That is the shortest way to political and social change. That is the reason why you have charter change. Yun po ang sagot kung bakit sino-short circuit natin ang proseso dahil yamot na po tayo sa kailangan nating pagbabago. Kasing taon ko po ang Republika natin. Magsi-78 na po ako kasi pinanganak po ako 1946, no? Alam nyo, isang pa ako nasa libingan na po, no? Itong ating Republika, parang teenager pa siya.
Not yet.
May sasabihin lang
Sige,
po ako.
sige, sir.
Yung pagbaba, medyo kaiba ng pananaw ako kay Dr. Calita Carlos. Yung panahon ni Pinoy, yung sinasabi kong good governance is good economics, ang nangyari doon, one of the positive effects of good governance, alam nyo, naalala nyo to, umakyat ang credit ratings upgrade natin. Alam nyo bang epekto ng credit ratings upgrade? Kung may utang kayo, lumit ang interest. Lumakas ang pera natin, yung peso natin, at may tiwala ang foreign investors pumasok dahil tumaas ang credit ratings upgrade natin. Ang hindi kung kayo, bibili kayo ng sasakyan, bibili kayo ng bahay, kumpara nyo yung interest before and after the credit ratings upgrade. Nung kasama ko sa gobyerno noon, bumili siya isang sasakyan, ang interest niya mataas. Ng credit ratings upgrade, after that, bumili ako ng sasakyan, ang baba ng interest ko. Hindi natin, siguro, ang mali sa amin, hindi namin naipaliwanag yan. Pero, makikita mo na kapag maganda ang ekonomiya ng bayan at maraming pumapasok, the ratings agency Standard & Poor's, Fitch Ratings, si JCB, tinitingnan nila yan. At kung tinataas ang inyong credit ratings upgrade, maganda para sa atin yan. Gumaganda, gumagaan ang bigat ng sa atin, kumuutang tayo. Kaya medyo nawala ng, sa bagay, yung mga nagpa 5-6, medyo kumunti. Pero yung talagang, yan ang mahalagang epekto sa atin. Tapos, ang ginagawa ngayon, kahit na no administration after kay GMA, yung CCT program, mahalaga yan kasi yung ang paniwala natin, hindi pwedeng ang benepisyo ng ekonomiya ay trickle down pababa na parang patak-patak. Dapat talagang inaakyat in direct intervention talaga ng gobyerno. At mula nung panahon ni GMA, nag-umpisa doon, hanggang ngayon, direct intervention talaga ang gobyerno doon.
Sige, one last. Kasi meron tayong papakita mga videos mamaya, sir and ma'am.
Maganda.
Biko, anong mga reaction sa inyo? Go ahead.
Magandang umaga po, Secretary Lasherda, Dr. Acalas, and Commissioner Mison. Ako po si Gina Mape ng DWWW 774. Napakasalimuot po pala na isinusulong na charter chains. At ang dami palang talagang problema. Ano po ba sa tingin nyo ang magiging kapalaran ng PI na to? Ano po ang magiging kapalaran ng PI? Ito po ba ay magtatagumpay sa panahon ni Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr.?
Siguro nasa strategic communication. Kasi kung yung pag-explain kanina ni Sec. Lasherda, babaan pa natin ang level na talagang malilink talaga sa the daily acts of living ng every Filipino. Maiintindihan nila ito. Hindi nila kailangan maging lawyer para maintindihan nila ito. Siguro isang factor pa, Sec. Lasherda, Fred, na kailangan kong sabihin sa inyo dahil nasa Congress na ako ngayon. Nakita ko talaga kung gaano ang daming nagbubungguan ng mga laws natin. No? At, halimbawa, bakit ganito? Galing lang ako sa UP. Sa UP ako nakatira. Parang 1.5 hours ako para makarating dito. Napagod na yung likod ko ng kakaupo sa kotse. No? Sabi ko, putres, parang ilang kilometro lang yung UP papunta rito sa Green Hills. And yet, bakit kamo? Alam mo, sinaliksi ko yan nung consultant ako ni Francis sa MMDA noon, 2010, di ba? And alam nyo, may EO po na nag-i-incentivize dun sa mga car manufacturers so long as merong X% local content. Bubunggo yan dun sa gusto natin na hindi traffic. Nakita nyo, nagbungguan yung EO at hindi naman po lumalawak ang EDSA. 25 kilometers niyan pa po yan. Hindi na po yan lalawak, hindi na hahaba. Hanggang hindi po nare-repeal yung EO na yon, hindi ba, parang kahapon lang nagsabi tayo, why, tuwan-tuwa tayo, 20% yung increase ng manufacturing, car manufacturing. Ang daming wala ng down payment, Edwin, So, por Diyos por Santo, alam nyo, matanda na ako, ang sakit po sa likod na nakaupo ng matagal. At, di ba? So,
Pero ma'am, just to say, epekto yun yung pagdami ng sasakyan, epekto rin ho yun ng after the credit ratings upgrade, naging mas mura yung sasakyan. Naging affordable. Yan ang epekto. The ill effect of that is really traffic. And that's why part of the solution was, during our time, may ni-approve na kaming NEDA na si panahon ni Secretary Balisacan ngayon, in-approve na yung subway project na tatahak ng EDSA. Pero nung panahon ni Pangulong Duterte, nag-decide sila ilihis na hindi na sa EDSA dadaan yung subway. Pero yan yung mga bagay na talagang pinag-aaralan. Itong mga skyway na yan, panahon ni Pangulong Aquino yan, talagang iniisip yan. Yung infrastructure, which is very important na ginagawa ngayon ng panahon ni Pangulong Marcos, heavily investing in public infrastructure spending. Talagang importante talaga. Makakaangat din yan ng ekonomiya ng bayan. And we have the resources now to do it.
Last na lang.
Yun lang
Okay.
pong reaction niyo po dun sa sinabi kung ano yung nakikita niyo magiging kapalaran ng People's
Dalawa po
Initiative sa
yun.
panahon ni magtatagumpay sa panahon ni BBM?
There will be two, not really obstacles, but challenges that they have to surmount. No? Ang una yung petition sa Supreme Court. Dapat i-convince sila ang Supreme Court na tama yung kanilang mga pro-chacha, tama ang kanilang ginagawa. May legal issue yan. Una yan. Pag na-resolve nila yon at aamendahan nila yung sa ligang batas, yung pangalawa is yung plebisito, yung referendum na i-approve yung mga amendments. So, dalawa yan. So, may dalawang challenges ang mga pro-chacha ang tatahakin.
Last na lang po, last.
Sandali lang, sir.
Last
Sandali
na
lang, sir.
lang.
Sandali lang, sir. Sandali lang. We need to insert a video Now, para may konting reaction lang si Sir at saka si Ma'am, after the program, feel free to ask direct questions po sa kanila. Sandali lang, Sir. Ma'am, tsaka Sir, may papakita lang po si Ricky na video and we want to get your reactions. I hope the video is
There's
ready.
no need to rush. This is what Davao del Norte 1st District Representative Pantaleon Alvarez said about their proposed separation of Mindanao from the Philippines. According to him, it is necessary to have a good discussion about the issue and both parties should agree on the same goal.
Wala kaming masasabing timeline dahil nga ayaw nating i-shortcut ito eh. Gusto ko magkakaroon ng konsultasyon, no, sa mga tao.
He said it is also necessary to know the opinion of the public on this matter.
Nalalaman natin yan sa mga tao dito sa Mindanao. Kasi hindi naman ako lang yung magdidesisyon.
Apo.
Kung iuurong yung kilusan o hindi.
In relation to this, Alvarez still believes that they have many supporters who are pushing Mindanao to separate from the Philippines. Especially they see no hope for Mindanao to remain in the country since it is always on the list priority.
To be honest, yung grupo namin nung araw, yung One People Mindanao, hanggang ngayon ay buhay pa naman yun. At ganun pa rin yung nasa damdamin nila.
He also said that there are politicians in Mindanao who are expressing support about this.
Marami rin akong kaibigan sa iba't ibang areas ng Mindanao, iba't ibang provinces. Nakakatanggap ako ng communications from them na, brother, isama mo kami dyan.
Jed Neresina, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Sige, Ma'am. And Sir, medyo konting lihis, but at the same time, it requires some change kasi. So, Sir, from a constitutional law standpoint, Ma'am, from a national security standpoint, and from a policy standpoint. Reaction, Ma'am.
Una, pag galit ka, huwag kang magdedesisyon. Alam mo yan, parang mag-i-evacuate na ako at magbabalot na ako ng damit ko, lalayas na ako dito. Sige, lumayas ka na. Allowance ko muna. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, hindi po yan a quick decision. You cannot make a decision out of peeve, no? Yung silakbo ng damdamin. Tulad ng sinabi ni Representative Alvarez, consultant din ako niyan, tungkol sa Marine Corps Affairs, no? Masusing pag-iisip po ang dapat nating gawin ito, no? And siguro si Secretary Edwin na magbibigay from a constitutional law perspective, does any part of the archipelago have any right to secede? Which is the fundamental issue.
Sabi ni Congressman Alvarez, parati napapabayaan ng Mindanao. Pero the last president was from Mindanao, so I don't know what did they do to the development of Mindanao. Ang alam ko, maganda naman ginawa ni Pangulong Duterte sa Mindanao, so medyo tama sabi ni Dr. Carlos na it was stated out of pique. Parang hindi talaga pinag-isipan, parang lang magkaroon ng... Sa akin, this is verbal fungi eh. Parang mapag-usapan lang to eh. Hindi naman talaga realistic. I mean, a decent Filipino. The Visayans are in Mindanao, Mindanaos are in Metro Manila. So, nasa buong Pilipinas na yung mga taga Mindanao, mga taga Luzon, nandun na rin. Parang tama ang sabi, ano bang purpose mo pagagandahin mo yung buhay mo by seceding? Gaganda ba ang buhay mo? Magkakagulo muna bago magsisisid. And there's no clear fundamental problem na unlike the American Civil War, slavery was an issue. Dito, ano bang issue malaki na nagiging issue na parang magsisid ang taga Mindanao? Wala eh, walang malaking issue. Not to mention the fact that si Comfred, abogado rin, meron tayong criminal laws on sedition eh. So I don't know if that will really prosper. So talagang parang verbal fungi lang sa akin kung sinasabi nila.
Thank you. Meron akong, pwedeng pahiram ng verbal fungi na yan. Quote unquote. Okay. Siguro, hindi niyo po kailangan maging scientifico para tignan yung experiences ng ibang bansa. Tignan niyo po yung nagsisiege from Sudan, ang South Sudan. Kalunos-lunos po ang kanilang dahil geographically din, harang na harang sila ng Sudan kung saan sila nanggaling. Tignan niyo yung Ethiopia at ang Eritrea na talagang gustong mag-ano. Tignan niyo po ang kalunos-lunos na na sinapit ng mga gustong magsisid. And then magsasabi sila, ay mali. Ay mali, ang dami na po ninyong na talagang lubak na dinaanan. Ang dami niyo na po nasalantang mga buhay, no. So, yeah, you don't make decisions out of pity. No, sabihin na natin sa silakbo ng damdamin nitong tao nagsabi nito, ay sana ay medyo i-temper nila ang kanilang kasilakbuhan ng kanilang damdamin at wag nilang bitbitin yung part ng ating citizenry na susunod din sa kanyang damdamin. No? Wala pong magandang outcome na mangyayari kapag hindi po masusi at ang pagsasaliksik natin. Kung anong produkto, tinatanong ko palagi, ano yung gusto mong produkto sa dulo? Kasi pag yun ang tinitignan mo, malalaman mo na yung tinatahak mo ngayon, hindi yun ang sagot dun sa produktong gusto mo.
Nice. I think, Ricky, we still have one more video.
Naniniwala si dating Senador Antonio Trillanes IV na wala pang warrant of arrest na ini-issue ang International Criminal Court o ICC laban kay dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. Sa kanyang post sa social media na X, sinabi ng dating mambabatas na wala pa siyang alam hinggil sa paglalabas ng ICC warrant. Nagpasa rin din ito sa kampo ni dating Pangulong Duterte at sinabing mag-chill lamang at huwag masyadong praning. Ayon pa kay Trillanes, darating din umano ang arrest warrant sa panahon na hindi ito inaasahan. Nauna nang inihayag ni dating Presidential Spokesperson Attorney Harry Roque na may impormasyon siyang ilalabas na ang arrest warrant laban kay dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte na maaaring galing sa ICC o sa local court.
Reaction, ma'am?
Kahit hindi po ako abogado, ang arrest warrant po ay ibibigay kung may conviction na. Unang-una, nag-iimbestiga pa lang itong ICC at nagbigay na ng order si President Bongbong nang walang makikipag-cooperate dito, no? Kasi intrusion yan sa ating sovereignty. So ano yung sinasabing arrest warrant? No, estudyante ko po rin yan sa si Harry Roque, no? Sana nagkamali si Harry sa kanyang tukuran. At saka alam nyo, meron na pong arrest warrant ang isang African leader. Hindi naman po nila yan napapasunod. No? Malalim pa po yung usapan sa ICC, pero siguro itong forum na to may not the right venue.
Okay. Sige, I think that's enough for our program today. We need to wrap up. But for our friends in media, feel free to ask more questions to our resource persons if they still have the time. But basically, what we understood from today's program, yung sinasabi nga ni Ma'am, the charter change will ultimately depend on how you will sell the product. Paano ba natin ibebenta ito sa mga ordinaryong mamayang Pilipino? And a large part of the success of any charter change will begin with the strategic communications. And sabi nga ni Secretary Lacerda na we have enough indicators where progress can be seen and can be met. Meron po tayong mga the transparency indices of the corruption. All of these things can be brought about not necessarily having a charter change. And finally, yung pinag-usapan nga namin na every time you open up a person for surgery, lahat yan makikita mo na lahat yung pwede ng palitan. Hindi pa pwedeng, yung puso lang titignan namin. Sabi nga ni Dr. Carlos, it cannot be piecemeal. It has to be holistic. And sabi rin ni Sec. Lacerda, once you open it up, then we just cannot put limits na we'll just talk about economic provisions. So, that, my friends, is our program for today. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pagdalo. Maraming salamat, Secretary Lacerda, Professor Dr. Carlos, ma'am. Mabuhay po kayo at mabuhay ang taong bayan.